Now, in terms of why these are going ahead today, the justification for them, what we're hearing from Trump's administration is that Canada and Mexico failed to take enough action on border security. Because remember, these tariffs today are supposed to be about fentanyl crossing into the United States from Mexico and Canada. That was a chief concern of Donald Trump, and illegal border crossings. And the big question leading up to yesterday and today was, were all the steps that were taken by Canada and Mexico in recent weeks enough to satisfy him? And the answer clearly was no, that they weren't satisfied and felt it necessary to go ahead and impose these tariffs. Canada has been trying to argue that the amount of fentanyl coming into the U.S. Across the border is very small and much, much lower than what crosses from the Mexican border. But today, Andrew, Vice President J.D. Vance was kind of dismissing that argument, saying when Canada tries and makes that argument that it's a small amount, that amount is still killing Americans. That is the view of Trump and his administration. So take a listen to how the Vice President is characterizing this.
The president's going to have conversations with the Canadians. We need to see real engagement on the fentanyl issue, on the drug issue. That is fundamentally the underlying element of these tariffs, is we think the Canadians have not been serious about stopping the drug trade. Now, people will sometimes say, well, if you look at the numbers, the Mexicans send way more fentanyl into the United States than the Canadians do. The Canadians have allowed a lot of fentanyl to come into the country. It's not a defense to say more has come from Mexico, because way too much has come from Mexico too.
So again, he's tying today's tariffs to the fentanyl issue, the border issue. Howard Lutnick, the Commerce Secretary, was doing the same thing on American networks this morning. He said that this is not a trade war, but a drug war. But we've been sort of hearing different messages from the president himself, Andrew, in terms of why he's imposing these tariffs. Yesterday, when he was speaking at the White House, he was bringing up the auto industry. In other social media posts he was making this morning, he was talking about the banking industry and claiming falsely that Canada doesn't allow American banks to do business in Canada. That doesn't seem fair to him, he was essentially writing, talking about how if companies move to the United States, there are no tariffs. And we know that's another explanation, rationale we've heard from the president for using tariffs as a tool to incentivize companies to set up shop in the United States or bring their plants back from places like Mexico or Canada.